Hi everyone, my name is Daniela, but most people call me Danny. I'm a project manager at Airfleet for already over 4 years, I think, and I'm currently leading build projects. It's definitely been a very challenging season for us as a team and for us as a company as well, because it's not easy. Maybe we make it look effortless, but it definitely was, we gave our blood, sweat and tears into it to make it happen. And we definitely learned a lot from it. So personally and us as a team, we have a bunch of takeaways. So we've basically accumulated over this past few months that I'm very excited to share, because I believe that they can help other people and other teams and also our clients to know more about the build projects, where the pitfalls, where are some things that they can improve on to actually get their website in the best shape and form possible on time. You know how it is. We want a website and we want it now. And we had some timelines that were just too aggressive. And obviously having an aggressive timeline creates a lot of pressure for the team, and then it also reduces our capacity and also room for some creative ideas and also for the back and forth. So we kind of have zero time or little to no time for the exploration, for the client feedback iterations, and maybe also some changes along the way. So because we are kind of cutting out all of our buffer time. So for me, planning is not just coming from us as Airfleet. It should be a collaboration. We could work with the client together on, because I understand that there are business priorities, but when everything is urgent, kind of nothing is urgent. So it's very important for us to get a clearer picture. What is the MVP product for the client to be live by the X date that they are launching a campaign, or they have an event or whatnot. I don't think the client themselves put it in their internal timelines, because I believe that you're building the site, but you're still working on the marketing initiatives for the old site. You have campaigns, you have, landing pages to manage, you have HubSpot workflows, and you're still doing your marketing. You don't just put your business on hold for this time of when the website is being developed. So it's like a work in progress. And I believe in a lot of cases, it's very important for the client to understand that for the website to launch on time in its best shape and form, they need to prioritize website initiatives over the internal stuff for some time, just to get it out of the way, send it over to us, and we'll do the magic. In the build process, we have phases that are very client oriented, and we need to get a lot of feedback from the client. We need a lot of the yes or no, a lot of content, images, and so on and so forth. And there are some phases where it's a little bit less intense. So I believe that in this high-end critical phases where we really need the client almost all the time on the line for approvals, for checks, for little things here and there, 1 or 2 hours a day, daily. And then the quieter phases, you need to check in, let's say every 2 days. So you have at least let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you check in on the project, and you know what's happening, and you need to provide feedback. In a lot of cases, we do see late delivery of final assets from the client. And, in a lot of cases, we have different projects with different scope and different phases, I would say. But in a lot of cases, a lot of design elements are coming from external team. So we are not owning it. For instance, animations or some videos, like a product video is a key element of a product page or a home page, for example. And obviously we cannot launch without it, because then the whole layout of the page kind of loses its strength. Yeah, definitely these are the things that I believe should be planned for earlier. So not do these last minute, and also just keep on bugging the team internally as well on all these things ahead of time. So for the last minute out of scope requests, I'd say this is the worst thing that can happen to a project manager, because obviously when working under a lot of pressure and working in the timeline, it feels like we don't have enough time to squeeze in the work that is already planned for and is already in scope. And every time something new comes in, our natural reaction to it is like, no, please don't bring it on. Let's just push it to post go live. And in a lot of cases, there are some out of scope requests that we can squeeze in, but then it's very important to understand that if we squeeze the out of scope requests in, it means that some of the critical items or some of the, like we need to prioritize the rest of the things that we have on the list. And maybe some of the things that are not that important will need to go to post launch, or we need to move to lower priority. We had a situation where one of the key stakeholders that we were not aware of was brought into the picture in the very last phase of the project, and the feedback that they've provided kind of forced us to go back a step, which is definitely not ideal. So we are always here and we're always asking, we're always trying to understand the full picture and also all the stakeholders who have the final say. And in general, we always, I believe it's very important for the client team internally as well as us to lock the scope early. So that we all both understand that we cannot change the layout of a specific page 2 days before the go live, because then we will not have enough time to properly test it internally and with the client to get the final approval from the superiors, because usually the main POC is not an issue here. We usually are waiting on the approvals from investors, from the CEO, and that these people have very busy schedules and they probably will not be able to approve things the second you send it over to them. So yeah, we had exactly in the middle of all the development and all the crunch time, we also had the war with Iran, which affected the availability of the clients and also of the team. Wow, I believe that I'm also looking back at it and I'm like, how did we all manage? So I believe that it's not something we could have predicted, and unexpected events will happen and might happen. But I believe that that's why when planning the timeline, it's very important to put in buffers for every phase. And again, obviously, we always say that if the buffer is not needed, we're willing to shorten the timeline and move it closer. But in the reality, buffers are these safety areas that around us, that allow us to prevent the actual crisis of the outside crisis to get inside the work that we're doing. I mean, I'm very biased because I work very closely with the team, and I believe we're all like one big family now. And as cheesy as it sounds, even despite all these obstacles and despite everything that was happening, I loved how our team managed to stay sane, first of all, and second of all, to stay productive. And I do also get a lot of feedback from our clients saying that they do appreciate the hard work that we do, and we're there. It feels like we're there for them 24/7, because also we have an Israeli team and we have the international team. So we work Sunday to Friday, which makes them feel that we're there 24/7. Also, our developers provide very high quality product, and also our platform is very customizable, so that even in the times where we don't need a code change for every little thing. You can change the text manually by yourself. Even the client can do it in the early phases. We also care a lot about the clients and about their success, because their success is also our success. That's how we see it. So we don't just deliver things because we need to. We always suggest if there's a better way of doing something, or there's like a more efficient way of doing something, we always recommend it. And I believe that clients trust us as their partners and not just as their vendors. And that's why we can deliver something that will be beneficial in the long run, and it will also be scalable. So you don't implement some weird integration that you're not going to need 3 months later. We always try to think ahead and for the client, being their marketing partners and not just the vendors who build the site with CSS and HTML.